Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson, but I'm going to get into this video that's going into the J people, the Jewish people, how they control the whole slave trade with the so-called blacks, the Southern Kingdom, and to show you that they know who we are. They know exactly who we are. They don't want you to know who you are. This video is going to prove that. So let me play this video, then let me get into this lesson. 1 second.
Well, you should read this one. This guy was a rabbi who wrote this one. And you know the term layaway? That came from when rabbis were selling slaves. Yes. And this has pages and pages of all the auctions and the rabbis selling the slaves. Check this. Jacob Cohen, okay, owned a plantation. Yes, all the plantations were ran by the Tiny Hats. 294 enslaved Africans. He was the president of the synagogue. You can just look this stuff up. And what got even deeper is I found Charleston, 1825. That was the original place of the slave marts. And they own the merchants, they own the ships, they own everything. And look at this. Charleston, Tiny Hat, slave traders. Now, since the Tiny Hats own all the newspapers, if they tried to run away, they put an ad up trying to get the slaves back. Then it got deeper when I found out that the Tiny Hats own the police too.
Yep.
So people try to run away, they own both sides. And it's wild because there was only 2 people who actually spoke up about this. That's why it's hidden from you. And also when Christopher Columbus came over here, now you understand who Christopher Columbus was. And this is why the Tiny Hats, the Charzarians, have been kicked out of all these countries. Now you start to understand.
Whoa. Did you catch that? The Khazars, or the Khazarians. So this is pretty heavy right here. And you know what's crazy? I was trying to find this book earlier, this particular book right here, both of these books that he's going into, and you can't really get it nowhere. So I'm gonna have to hunt this book down, these 2 books, and play more of this. Salakia.
So if you can think of a people who were more held back, more deprived, more sabotaged than African Americans, you took everything away from them and took them away from everything. They started in your country at less than 0, literally regarded and treated as subhuman, not allowed to learn to read or write or anything for hundreds of years. But you see, they come from a people of accomplishment to one degree or another. Not a people of piracy and theft and appropriation. They come from a people who created and built and developed in their own land. And even though you did everything that you could possibly do to suppress them, to hold them down, to hold them back, and you're still doing that until today, nevertheless, I don't think anyone can dispute the fact that African Americans have become a global cultural superpower. Culturally, they're a superpower. Whatever cultural soft power that America has in the global South, it's African American.
That book right there, and that book right there, on the 2 books that I'm trying to hunt down. Now I'm going to correct this, whatever this is. I don't know if that's an AI video. I don't know if that's a real guy. But we're not African American. That's folly. When you go into the name Africa, the Edomites renamed the continent Africa. And America comes from Amerigo Vespucci. So you can't be 2 continents in the new terminology of what those things mean. That's folly. But what they are hiding from you are you're the children of Israel. When you go to the word children in the Hebrew, it means sons of Israel. So that's where we descend from. And then you have the women, that's fall under that umbrella. But the men come first, then a woman. That's complete order. So Amalek, which call themselves Jewish today, once I get my hands on these 2 books, I can't wait to bring those lessons out. I'm going to hunt these 2 books down, because them 2 books is a very important information concerning you waking all the way up, and you understand what's completely going on. Exodus 17 and 16. And the people that's in that land today, pursuant to the prophecy of Ezekiel 36 and 5, these are Edomites. And in particular, the head tribe of Edom, which would be Amalek, or the Amalekites. They call themselves Khazars. Then they call themselves Jewish. For he said, because Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, anytime you see Lord in all capital letters, that's Yahweh name. Always remember that. Have sworn that Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So this is going to be a perpetual thing until the Lord come gather us up, after, before Babylon is destroyed, you know what I'm saying, simultaneously. So these curses will be on the true Israelites, not the Israelis, not the Jewish people. When you go into the word Jewish, let's do this real quick. And I haven't did one of these lessons in a minute. It's kind of like some of the first lessons, brothers that be teaching that we go to going into the word Jewish. Remember, the letter J was created in 1524. So the concept of being a Jew, a Jewish, it's all a new creation. That's why we tell you about that name JC. That name, the Messiah, did not have that name. His name is Yahushua. Yahushua. He saves or he delivers. So when you go into this word Jewish, the meaning of Jewish is relating to a characteristic of the Jews. So some like, but not really, kind of, sort of, in between, and they play on this because they know people don't know what words properly mean. And they know people don't know the history of the etymology of words. That's how they can get away. That's how they've been getting away with this lie for so long. But look, pertaining to something like, somewhat, they're not the true Israelites. And we never called ourselves Jews. Remember, Jews and Jewish is new speak. What I mean when I say new speak, that mean it was created and it wasn't ancient. It's not ancient. The letter J was not around in Yahushua time. So that's impossible that his name was JC, or that we would call ourselves Jews, or that we would call ourselves Jewish. Remember, ish, something like. So let's go here. And these curses will be on the true Israelites so we can know who we were today. And the Bible is written in code. I'm going to get into that precept that proves it's not going to be an open and shut case as you Christians or people that's outside the truth want it to be. The Bible is written in a code. Why? Only so we can understand. Deuteronomy, that's how you got in the military. You got something called, what's that, Morse code? Salakia. It escapes my memory. But basically, they have codes that they inside of that circle can interpret. Alphabet, how they do the codes, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It says in Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. When I say Yahweh, I'm talking about the Father. And when I say Bahashem, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that's the Son. And the Most High name ain't Hashem. Hashem, that's what they call him. That's folly. Shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So when did we go into Egypt with ships? This ain't talking about the physical place, Egypt. And if you study geography, you'll know it wouldn't make logical sense, a logistical sense for us to go into Egypt again in ships, because when we would go into Egypt, we would go by foot, a caravan, so on and so forth. It wouldn't make any sense to go into slavery in Egypt in ships. This was talking about a different Egypt. Matter of fact, let's hit a precept. And I'm going to show you why we have the precept, why we have to go here, go there. It's a method to the madness. It ain't for the casual Christian. Exodus 20 and 2. It says, I'm the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, thy power, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So there you see Egypt and the house of bondage in the same breath. Because Egypt represents bondage in some cases, depending on the context. In this context, Egypt is synonymous with bondage, which is slavery. So in the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah should bring thee into Egypt or bondage, again with ships, transatlantic slave trade. By the way where I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye should be sold unto your enemies. The so-called white man is our number one enemy, Edom. In particular, the Amalekites that you saw in the opening of the video, that they funded, they controlled, they had the ships, they had the insurance policies, etc., in the whole slave trade. Sold to your enemies for bond men, that's a slave man, and bond women, slave women. And no man shall buy you. When you go into the Hebrew, that's why you have to look words up so you won't be in a stupor or say stupid stuff or think stupid stuff. When you go to this word buy, it means redeem. When you go to the word redeem, it means save. No one's going to save us out of this condition because this all has been sanctioned from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai as our punishment. And you see these jakes, they in a, you see why it's like this. I ain't going to go too deep. Isaiah 28:10, and this is for the Israelites. The true Israelites will understand the code, the precepts, the understanding, the vastness, and the precepts, and so on and so forth, the history of our Bible. This is our culture. We're not a religion per se. This is our culture. Isaiah 28:10. For precept must be on. Matter of fact, let me go to the jump up. Isaiah 28:9 is only for the Israelites to understand this. It's a highly spiritual book to be discerned and deciphered through the Israelites. Whom shall we teach knowledge? And whom shall we make to understand doctrine? It says by understanding. Everything in this life is about understanding something. If you don't understand something, you're lost. That's how crucial knowledge is to make the understanding come upon you. Them that are weaned from the milk, that's the basics, the milk breakdowns when you first come into the truth, and are drawn from the breast. So what's the instruction for the real Israelites, not the Jewish people? They believe in the Babylonian Talmud. Isaiah 28:10, for precept must be on precept. What is a precept? A cross-reference scripture so you can understand. It's another scripture that gives you better understanding what something is saying. Just to put it into layman terms. Precept among precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little. What does this mean? A lot of this is not going to be in chronological order. It's going to be all over the place, but it's a method to the madness. It's only for us. It's a code. The Lord put the Bible and the understanding of it in a code. He made it obscure so the people won't get it. So the Lord is perfect in his understanding and his ways. Right here. Edom is modern Jewry. The Jewish Encyclopedia, 1925 edition, volume 5. What's that page? Don't cut off right there. But modern Jewry, the Amalekites, is Edomites. Them the ones that did the whole slave trade, funded, so on and so forth. Who was Amalek in the Bible? In the Bible, Amalek was the grandson of Esau, the progenitor of the Amalekites. That's who these people descend from. They go back to Edom. In particular, they go back to Amalekites. And this is why these J people hate you so much. It's an ancient hatred. Right? So I'm gonna make sure I did everything. Let me see this. Salakia. But yeah, I think I got everything. Let me make sure. I want to hit this, but I think I'm going to say this for another lesson because this is a whole nother angle right here. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Allah, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rachak, Kodash, not Kadash, Kwadash. Shalom.